Hello there, I hope you are doing well. So today is the Vue DevLog series. So we are going to talk about the Vue DevLog 3, what we are going to do and what I did off camera. So let's get started. Things got interesting here, so as you might know, the last episode we just stopped at creating the input for the text type, and now I just added the input for the password type, which is, by the way, the same component as the text one. There is a prop that I added to make it so that it switches between text and password. So let's test these inputs. As you can see, just as we left the last one in the last episode, just verifying the normal text, and here if we type some password, never mind this icon because it's an icon for the Edge browser. I don't know why Microsoft did that, but yeah, it's here. And by the way, if you just click outside of the component, it just goes away. So yeah, the icon that I developed, it's here, so you can switch here, and yeah. Now let's jump in the code, and as you can see exactly here, the text is containing some of the special characters. I can add some other ones, so yeah, it can still do nothing with it because I configured it to do that. So let's jump to the code and let's see what it does. So as always, a lot of code, you know the drill. HTML and CSS. The X input. Alright, let's start with props. I added something called input type. This input type is the prop that will decide if your input will be going to be the heck. It's okay, never mind my language. It's going to be a text input or a password input. So as you can see, where is the input, the type, I turned it into a directive because directives in Vue help you to specify the type using a variable, if that's correct. So yeah, you can specify, as you can see here, this .main type, which is our prop that I turned into a data prop. So it's here, and it's just this .input type, and you will understand why I did that in just a second. Alright, so you do this, and then you will see that I am verifying the div of the pointer. So that red bubble over, that blue bubble over here, you will verify if it is of type text, it will be a dot, else it will be an icon which is clickable. So yeah, that's how you do it. For the image, it's an IMG, of course, and I am resolving the image URL over here, and I'm resolving it with this .password icon. So I added another data prop, which is here, password icon. I'm just passing the name of the icon. So at first it will be invisible, and then when you toggle it, it will be visible. So how I did that? I added the v-on-click, which is a Vue directive for handling the click events, and added the toggle switch. So toggle switch is a method which is over here. So if the main type of the text is if the main type of the input is text, then change it to password and change the resource to toggle visible. Else change it to text and return it to toggle invisible. So you see now why I added a data prop of main type, because I wanted to modify it later on when the user clicks on that icon, so I can toggle between the two. And for the main type, which I am now changing, because inputs, how they work is that you specify the type. If it is text, it will show the text. If it is password, it won't show the text. By default, HTML does not support an icon or any show hide action, so you need to add it yourself. And that's what I did here. And yeah, that's for the old thing, the old stuff. And as you can see here, I went ahead and added the navigation components. I created mobile navigation components in HTML. Let's just never mind this fact ever, and let's jump right into the code. Alright, so the first thing that we will do is create the file for the component, name it, and classify it in the home page so we can visualize our modifications right on the gate. And then add the props. The first prop was icons, so I made it an array of icons, so you can define any icon you want, any list of icons you want. So that was the first thing. And then I added the v-for directive, which loops through the array of icons, and then create a div which was assigned by the v-for. Create the div that contains the image and the point, the selector point. So that was the first step. And then I started stylizing the icons. So for the icons, I resolved the image URL as always by the method. And then I went ahead and so a problem in Vue, which is not really a problem. The Vue was throwing an error which was not rendering the whole navigation bar, which was that the v-for needs a key. So Vue can track all the sub-components, the sub-items, elements that it creates. So basically you need an index for each item, and that index needs to be unique. So I started adding that. I added an index, so we have a pair of variables in the v-for, and then use the index as the key. So now our problem is solved. We can go ahead and start going with for the points and the styling and all the spacing and the sizing. So yeah. And then I was lazy to add more icons with different colors just to imitate the hover and the selected. So I went ahead and searched, I did some research, and I found out that you can modify SVGs in HTML or CSS or everywhere using the filter attribute from CSS. So filter, how it works is that modifies the values of the gamma and the RGB so it can match your color, your desired color. I went ahead and searched for a website. It's CodePen, that generates the color using filter by providing its hex colors. So yeah, I went ahead and searched for my color. And then, and only then, I started working on the hover and selected. Selected is a class that shows your pointer icon when it's selected and changes the color to filtered in your for your icon. Yeah, but there is a problem. A navigation bar is not complete without a return. So I went ahead and added the emit function, which adds by $emit, and then inside that emit you specify a name and the parameters after the comma. Now I will explain how emit works. So it's simple. Emit works like when you click, you have a feedback, you have an event to handle, and it is fired by that component. So for example, if I want, it works directly like a v-on component, a v-on handler. So if you want a click, you use v-on click. Here, instead of using v-on click, we use v-on, the name that we specified in our emit, which is the name of that function. And it will be in the parent component. So you have your function in the parent component and you execute it when your component fires that emit. I don't know if you understand this one, but it's fairly simple. It's just one line that you add and that's it. As you can see here, there is the v on item selected, which returns for now it's just a method with an alert for the index. You can return any variable that you want in that emit function, so that's good. So now like that you can use it for example Vue native, or use it with Ionic. So yeah, it's fairly simple and fairly useful. Yeah, it has no point using these navigation components in direct websites, but yeah, you have the choice to use them in Ionic and Vue native, and that's great. So yeah. And after finishing the main navigation component, I went ahead and created two other navigations, which were vertical, and one was expanded with an account and the name and all that stuff. So it's fairly, they all work the same, but there is some difference in the bigger one, which has additional props like the name and the account email and the image. Those were additional ones, and I went ahead also and modified the array of icons, the prop of array. Instead of passing an array of icon names, I went ahead and replaced it with an array of objects. Each object contains the name of that item and the name of the icon. So like that you can display the name of your items. So yeah, that's the only difference. Everything else works just the same, the hover and the selection and the v-on directive. I even copied the same source code and modified in it. Yeah, you know, lazy people always find the best creative solutions to create some wonders, and that's what I just did. So yeah, this is the end of this devlog. If you like it, please like, share and subscribe, and if you don't like it, you can also dislike it. So yeah, and I will meet you guys in the next episode of this Vue devlog series, and maybe if I have time I will release a new video bi-weekly, not weekly, because that's a long period to stay. So yeah, wish me luck on that, and see you later.